Brothers, good evening, and thank you for joining us. It is a real pleasure to be with you, and we have a number of exciting updates to share with you tonight. Let me start by quickly mentioning who will be presenting tonight. My name is Justin Kirk, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of Delta Upsilon International Fraternity and Educational Foundation. I'll be joined by Tom Durein, Oregon State 92, who serves as DU's International President. And finally, we are joined by past president and foundation volunteer, Bruce McKinney, Missouri 74. Bruce is here to join us tonight to share some exciting news from the DU Educational Foundation. We began these town halls in the summer of 2000 to update our membership on how the fraternity was responding to the pandemic. We found this to be an effective way to communicate what is happening in DU to our loyal alumni and campus partners. Each of these town halls have included a couple hundred participants and will be a staple in our communications strategy going forward. And again, we really appreciate you taking time out of your evening to join us tonight. Let's start with a brief state of the fraternity. In the next 2 weeks, we will welcome more than 3,500 undergraduates back to campus in our 68 chapters and associate chapters. This fall will be the first semester that all of our chapters will be back to full operations without any restrictions. And I know from talking to our undergraduates, they couldn't be more excited to be back to a full, normal operating chapter. This summer, our Delta Upsilon Emerging Leaders Program, or DUAL, returned to Williamstown and Williams College for the first time since 2019. 30 young men, emerging leaders, were able to experience leadership, brotherhood, and teamwork as they gathered for 3 days in this exciting program. And just 3 weeks ago, more than 300 brothers and guests gathered in Orlando for the Leadership Institute. We celebrated our successes, conducted fraternity business, delivered education, but most importantly, we shared brotherhood and fellowship. Our fraternity staff is already out on the road supporting chapters in their recruitment efforts. We are already hearing of record turnout for recruitment on some campuses. And on the expansion front, you'll be excited to know that this year, the fraternity will be returning to North Carolina State, Kansas, Washington, Oregon State, and heading to the University of Tampa for the first time. We really do have an exciting year ahead of us.
Brothers, it is truly great to be with you. I join you from Columbus, Ohio on the road myself, and wouldn't miss this opportunity to gather with you, with Justin, with Bruce, and just to share some exciting news and some exciting updates about the fraternity. So thank you for taking time out of your night to join us. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the time you're taking tonight. Over the last year, I have really enjoyed being able to reconnect with our alumni across North America. As president of the fraternity, it's one of the best things I get to do. So fortunate that I get to travel the North America and visit with our undergraduates and our brothers. We've held alumni events in Chicago and San Francisco, in Dallas, Boston, and New York. And it was great to see many of you there. Thank you for taking the time to come and visit with us and share your stories. Our fraternity's board of directors has spent the last 2 years focused as well. They've been working hard on developing a new strategic plan to take us into the next stage of our fraternity. As you all know from our past town halls, the pandemic slowed our efforts, but at each of our meetings this year, the board spent significant time discussing the state of Delta Upsilon, the state of higher education, and our vision for the future of our fraternity. There's definitely significant change happening in society and in higher ed, and we need to remain at the forefront of those changes. Board members James Bell and Aaron Clevenger, hopefully you've heard those names before, have been driving the process for us for the last 9 months, and we're near the completion of our new strategic plan. Our work has included focus groups with alumni and undergraduates, surveying more than 1,000 alumni and hearing from industry experts that share in our vision and in our excitement for the fraternity and where we'd like to be going in the next 5 to 10 years. And tonight, we're excited to share with you a high-level overview of what we've come up with.
Before we get to the new strategic plan, I just want to share and remind everybody what was in the fraternity's last strategic plan, and it had three primary focus areas: consistency of undergraduate brand, alumni and volunteer engagement, and alignment with higher education. Many of the programs that are now staples in our education and servicing portfolio were initiated from that strategic plan. You've probably heard of many of these initiatives, and a few of them have won industry awards. The Regional Leadership Academies, Building Better Men Retreats, the Membership Outcomes Assessment, a revamped Chapter Excellence Plan, the Men of Merit Standards, and our new Associate Member Education Program were all strategic initiatives from that last plan.
When developing our new plan, we first started with setting criteria that would be the foundation for what we wanted to accomplish. We would view these criteria as a lens, a way of looking at each key action and how they would need to fall into one of these areas to be relevant to the plan and to our future. We wanted to be, first and foremost, innovative, challenging the status quo as we do so well at Delta Upsilon, and we have for years and years and years and generations, and leading in the fraternal world in that aspect. We wanted to be member focused. We wanted to have a customer service orientation where the member experience is at the forefront of all of our decisions, our undergraduate and alumni experience. We thought about fostering belonging, enabling an inclusive community of trusting relationships for our members so that they felt committed and like they belonged. And then we talked a lot about relevance. We talked about ensuring Delta Upsilon is a relevant member of our communities and society, and that we're providing relevant content to our undergraduates and to our alumni. We talked about impact and being impactful, providing meaningful experiences for members and making a difference in our communities. And lastly, we talked about being sustainable, ensuring that we have the resources necessary and needed so that elements of our plan are maintained year after year after year going forward. That having been said, our new plan will have 4 focus areas. And within each of these areas, we'll be finalizing key actions and metrics over the next 3 months. So we've designed these 4 focus areas, and going forward now, we're going to narrow it down even more. We're going to decide on the actions, and then how are we going to hold ourselves accountable to those key actions. So the first, growth of undergraduate membership. Talked about this at other town halls. We were very, very fortunate at DU that we were able to weather the pandemic better than lots of other fraternal organizations. But the pandemic years were a challenge. 2017 and 18 was a high point in the history of DU, and we want to get back to those kinds of membership levels. The second area of focus, providing impactful experiences for undergraduates. We've made great strides in this area over the last 10 years, and our assessment data shows that we're making a difference in undergraduates' lives. We want to consider how to take this, though, to the next level. So we need to impact more men with our award. We want to impact more men with our award-winning programs.
The third area of focus, invigorate alumni engagement with the fraternity. DU is a lifelong experience, and we know that the undergraduate experience is stronger with our engaged alumni. So we will be looking for ways that we can diversify ways that alumni can be involved with DU. There have been a lot of traditional ways that alumni engage, but we're going to try to think outside the box and really connect with alumni how they want to engage with DU. We want to increase our number of trained volunteers and develop a strategy to engage our young alumni in their first 5 years after graduation. The final area of focus is to innovate fraternity operations and delivery mechanisms. DU has been at the forefront in innovation and remaining relevant. We will consider how we can innovate around technology. We learned a lot in the pandemic, how we can deliver programs and services virtually, and how can we improve upon that in the future. We want to ensure that we have sustainable long-term financial resources and a business continuity plan. As we mentioned earlier, the board will be finalizing the key actions and metrics in the months ahead, and we will have much more detail to share on our new strategic plan next summer. But tonight, we just wanted to give you a brief overview to let you know, as engaged alumni, that we are looking forward to what comes next and preparing DU for the future.
And now we're going to shift gears a little bit, brothers and friends and folks that care about what's going on in DU. And this comes the time when we turn our attention to the efforts of our educational foundation and what's been going on with the DUEF. We have a truly historic announcement for Delta Upsilon and our Building Better Men vision, our Building Better Men mission, if you'll excuse me. Despite the many ongoing challenges that have been facing the fraternal movement, which you all know about, you see it, you're experiencing it in your communities and with the campuses you're affiliated or associated with, DU's success over the last 15 years has solidified our fraternity as the premier brotherhood experience for college men. We know that, our students tell us that, our assessment tells us that. We're very, very proud of our efforts. Our progress in undergraduate membership, fraternity-wide academics, educational programming, and support for the foundation from donors are clear indicators that the DU experience works and that it's worthy of your investment, of our investment. Although our recent results are impressive, they are not the true crowning achievement of the fraternity. Since our founding in 1834 and for generations to come, the vitality of DU depends upon how well our members honor our four founding principles. And it's time to ensure that the ideals of friendship, character, culture, and justice advance our members, our chapters, and our society forever.
On November 4th, 1834, Delta Upsilon's founders met for the first time. You could feel the electricity in the room as 30 young men were about to spark a movement, one that could change their lives and the lives of generations of men forever. Their charge to create a lasting brotherhood committed to friendship, character, culture, and justice. A non-secret brotherhood that would enhance the knowledge and skills of all who joined. In our fraternity, a charge is a responsibility. The charge address in our ritual of initiation calls every DU to honor the ideals set forth by our founders, not through our words, but through our deeds. For nearly 2 centuries, countless DUs have heeded the charge of our founders and built our fraternity into the premier development experience for young men. But what about our charge for tomorrow? Can Delta Upsilon overcome today's narrative and the plaguing issues of the fraternal movement? Will we rest on our laurels, or will DUs everywhere heed the charge from our initiation once more and come together to support our fraternity like never before? Our past is secure. Our future depends on our vigilance. With these sentiments in mind, the Delta Upsilon Educational Foundation is excited to announce a bold capital campaign that will ignite a passion for our fraternity in the hearts and minds of DUs everywhere. A campaign that, if successful, will support our undergraduates, chapters, and volunteers in historic ways, focusing on 3 priorities: to ignite the charge of individual development, to ignite the charge of chapter enhancement, to ignite the charge of fraternal relevance and innovation. It is time to invest like never before in the undergraduate DUs of today and tomorrow. Worthy men who will not only lead their chapters, but their campuses and their communities. Young men who will forever be guided by the principles of friendship, character, culture, and justice. It is time to ignite the charge.
Brothers and friends, what a moment this is for Delta Upsilon. I am humbled and honored to serve as the chairman of the Ignite the Charge campaign. This campaign is a $6 million effort to invest in our fraternity's future like never before. As you can imagine, the decision to move forward with a historic campaign was not taken lightly. For the past 19 months, a fantastic group of volunteers, staff, and fundraising experts have been hard at work. We spent time interviewing our top donors, assessing the educational needs of our chapters, the education and determining the best way to invest in the young men who will lead our fraternity in the years ahead. This long but important campaign planning process provided a few key revelations. First, although our DU experience works, many alumni still don't know the full story of the fraternity's impact and progress. Second, when undergraduates take full advantage of the programs and initiatives funded by the foundation, they improve as individual leaders and positively influence their chapters. Third, despite record demand for educational programming, the foundation currently can only fund 38% of the annual costs for these programs and initiatives. This is placing a significant financial burden on the backs of our undergraduates, our local chapters, and the international fraternity. Finally, despite the fact that some people question the relevance of fraternities today, our alumni believe now, more than ever, that our DU experience is relevant and vital because our society needs young men who live by the ideas of friendship, character, culture, and justice. There's been a lot of hard work to get to this point. I now invite Tom to share exactly what this campaign will accomplish if we can surpass our $6 million goal.
$6 million. This is amazing. We are going to raise $6 million to forward the initiatives of our fraternity. I couldn't be more excited. Thank you, Bruce, for chairing this wonderful campaign for us. And I am excited to talk with you about the three main priorities of this Ignite the Charge campaign. As the video said, by the way, I love watching the video. It's the second or third time I've seen the video. It gets me every single time. I'm so proud of what we're able to do and what we're trying to do for your future. The first priority of the Ignite the Charge campaign, the charge of individual development. Gentlemen, this is going to include $2.4 million of our goal to create an endowment to fund the President's Academy, which trains our top chapter leaders annually. It's going to enable us to add a second session of DU's Emerging Leaders Experience, where participants visit our founding site at Williams College. And it's going to help us fund an ongoing member development program that coaches and develops undergraduates year-round. That's very, very important. We need this to be going year-round for our students so we don't train early and drop off. This is very important to us. The charge of individual development will be the largest funding priority of our campaign, as we know our greatest investment as a fraternity is in the hearts and the minds of all of our undergraduates. The second priority is the charge of chapter enhancement. This will include a $2.3 million commitment to endow our Building Better Men retreats, bringing customized training and goal setting to the chapter level. For the alumni that are joining us today, perhaps you know about our Building Better Men retreats. Maybe you've supported them locally, but these are wonderful opportunities that get our groups together, our chapters as a whole together, to train the whole group as a whole. The second, to increase scholarship funding for regional leadership academies, where chapter officers and advisors will receive skill development for their respective positions, helping them to support their chapters at the local level. And to establish chapter legacy plan endowments, which allow DU alumni to support the campaign in a way that directly benefits the undergraduates and the volunteers at their local chapters. As you all know, we've discussed this before, it is so important to our alumni at DU to be able to support their chapter locally. We want to be able to give them that opportunity. And then third, the final priority of our Ignite the Charge campaign is the charge of fraternal relevance and innovation. This will include a $1.3 million commitment to create a senior leadership experience that brings together graduating seniors and our most successful alumni representing all professional fields. This is going to be a brand new program which will provide critical coaching and mentorship to young DUs about to start their way in the working world. Very, very important, very new, very exciting for us. This will also help to fund our DIAD membership outcomes assessment. You've heard us talk about that before. Very important to keep tabs on where we've come from, where we're going. And it helps us to also support interfraternal research that validates what we're doing at DU is working. And that's very, very important. And finally, this $1.3 million will help us with a priority to invest in new technology for online coaching and education in a modern and thinking way We learned nothing through COVID. It's that we really, really need to be thinking forward about technology and how do our students learn and how do we help them learn going forward years and years from now. Individual development, chapter enhancement, and fraternal relevance and innovation. These are what the Ignite the Charge campaign is all about. So excited about this.
Thank you, Tommy. So now comes the fun part. Although we can't mention every advance gift to the campaign, there are a few very special alumni who stepped up early and with extreme generosity to give us important momentum. So first, I'd like to recognize a dear friend and DU legend, Maury Mandel, Chicago 55. Maury's unprecedented service to UU, including 10 years on the International Fraternity Board, 30 years as a foundation trustee, and over 35 years of service to the Chicago Alumni chapter. It should come as no surprise that Maury was eager to lead by example with his campaign support. His commitment includes 5 years of support for the annual loyalty fund, an endowment gift, and a state gift to his educational program fund. Thank you, Brother Mandel, for your campaign commitment of $100,000. Next, I'd like to recognize one of DU's most loyal couples, Sandy and Bruce Bailey. Denison, 58. Bruce has been heavily involved as a DU volunteer since the early 70s, and he and Sandy believe strongly in the character building experiences offered by Delta Upsilon and also Delta Zeta, Sandy's sorority. Their campaign commitment includes 5 years of support for the annual loyalty fund, an endowment gift, and a generous estate gift. Thank you so much, Bruce and Sandy, for your outstanding campaign commitment of $175,000. And then third, I'd like to recognize Bob Black, Iowa 95. Brother Black is a former chapter president who made his first gift to the foundation for $50 as a young alumnus in 1999. As his career evolved from finance to insurance, Brother Black made sure to increase his annual support of the foundation over time. When asked to consider a major gift to the campaign, Bob responded by saying, "I think I want to give more." Brother Black's campaign commitment includes 5 years of support for the annual loyalty fund and an endowment gift for educational programming. Thank you, Brother Black, for your campaign commitment of $250,000.
This is really kind of amazing. I love hearing this. I love recognizing our brothers. I love thinking about all of the gentlemen, the folks that are committed to our organization, that are donating, that are giving of themselves in ways that they never have before to our fraternity. Again, this is a huge effort for us, a first-time effort to go this large for the fraternity, and it's humbling when we think of the alumni that are committed, that had great experiences like all of you who have joined us tonight. Very, very exciting to think of them and to thank them and to think of all the others out there that are contemplating a commitment to this campaign. So this is going to be fantastic. We have 3 more donors that we'd like to recognize tonight. And I'd like to talk a little bit about Brother Ralph Kastner, Nebraska 85. For those of you who don't know, Ralph's family has a long, illustrious line of Nebraska DUs, including Ralph's father, Lloyd, his uncle Gene, his brother Clarence, his cousins Tim, Nate, and Jake Geisert, and 2 of Ralph's own sons, Luke and Nick. The name Kastner is synonymous with DU greatness, and we're so grateful for his support, and we're thrilled to have both Kim and Ralph's support for the campaign. Their commitment includes 5 years of giving to the annual loyalty fund and the creation of the Kastner Family Endowment Fund, which will provide educational program scholarships in conjunction with the Nebraska Chapter Legacy Plan. We talked about how important it is for alumni to be able to commit to their own local chapter. This is that wonderful opportunity. Ralph's taken advantage of it. We want to thank you, Kim and Ralph, for your campaign commitment of $275,000. Amazing. Next, near and dear to my heart, is our brother Jim Graham, Oregon State, class of 65, just a few years before me. Jim's campaign commitment is extremely important as well because it will allow us to expand 2 of DU's most popular programs. We talked about one before, the Building Better Men Retreats. And Jim's also excited to support the Emerging Leaders Experience. Brother Graham is a former headquarters staffer And when he took one look at the campaign materials, when we made a visit to him, he said, "Our progress is impressive. How can I help?" One of the easiest and most amazing questions to ask. No other questions, just how can I help? So we'd like to thank Brother Graham for his campaign gift. This year, the fraternity will increase the number of Building Better Men retreats to 25 total chapters. And next summer, we will add an additional second session of the DU Emerging Leaders Experience. I'm thrilled and grateful to share that Jim's commitment to the campaign totals $500,000. Wow. And finally, I would like to thank the generosity of one Brother Jordan Lotzoff, Northern Illinois 88. Hopefully you all know and recognize that name. Not only is Jordan one of the leading experts in fraternity loss prevention, but for years, Jordan has offered his invaluable guidance to our board, to the Fraternities Educational Foundation, to our undergraduates. Thank you, Jordan, for the many ways you have supported Delta Upsilon with your time, talent, and treasure over generations. I'm honored to announce that Jordan has made a cash endowment and estate gift commitment totaling $1 million to this campaign initiative. $1 million. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Tommy. We are just truly humbled by this early support for the Ignite the Charge campaign. But we have much more work to do. Thanks to the commitments we've already received, and that includes 100% participation from the campaign cabinet, from the fraternity board of directors, from the foundation board of trustees, and the DU staff. I'm excited to reveal that we've already secured gifts and pledges totaling $3,950,000.
It's amazing.
It's awesome to be at this point, but we've got a lot of hard work in front of us. Over the next 2 years, the campaign cabinet, members of both boards, and the foundation staff will be sharing the Ignite the Charge campaign with alumni across North America through various DU alumni receptions in a number of cities. And here you see them on the slide. If a DU alumni reception is coming to your area, or if you get a call from a member of the foundation staff, I hope you welcome an invitation just to learn more about the campaign and to get more involved. And yes, we all have different means, brothers and friends, but every DU can do his part for this campaign when asked. I'd like to close with a quick word to the DU undergraduates who may be listening tonight. I hope this announcement gives you excitement and confidence as you start school this fall. And I encourage you to seek out and thank donors who support this campaign. The Ignite the Charge campaign should serve as a reminder of just how many alumni believe in you and want to invest in your future. But you also carry a big responsibility. Not only should you take full advantage of the programs and initiatives that this campaign will fund, but most importantly, your charge is to bring honor to Delta Upsilon through your actions, both as individuals and as DU chapters. We're counting on you. And this campaign shows just how many alumni believe that you are worthy of our investment. Thank you so much, brothers and friends. It is time to ignite the charge.
Brothers, what an exciting time in Delta Upsilon. A new strategic plan and a bold capital campaign to ignite the charge. I am so grateful to all the brothers and friends who have already supported the campaign. And we look forward to the opportunity to meet with many of you in the next year ahead to hear how you may want to support Delta Upsilon. If you have any questions about what you've heard tonight, whether it be servicing of chapters, new educational programs, our expansion efforts, the strategic plan, or the Ignite the Charge capital campaign, please feel free to reach out to a member of the fraternity or foundation staff, and we'd be gladly to take your call and answer your questions. Again, thank you for taking time to join us tonight. And this is such an exciting time in DU. Everybody, have a good night.